The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, translated into English in 1859 by Edward Fitgerald. Awake! For morning in the bowl of night has flung the stone that puts the stars to flight, and lo! The hunter of the east has caught the Sultan's turret in a noose of light. Dreaming when dawn's left hand was in the sky, I heard a voice within the tavern cry, "Awake, my little ones, and fill the cup before life's liquor in its cup be dry." And, as the cock crew, those who stood before the tavern shouted, "Open then the door! You know how little while we have to stay, and, once departed, may return no more." Now the new year reviving old desires, the thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bough puts out, and Jesus from the ground suspies. Iram indeed is gone with all its rose, and Jamshid's seven-ringed cup where no one knows, but still the vine her ancient ruby yields, and still a garden by the water blows. And David's lips are locked tea, but in divine high-piping Pahlavi, with wine, 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 red wine. The nightingale cries to the rose that yellow cheek of hers to incarnadine. Come, fill the cup, and in the fire of spring the winter garment of repentance fling. The bird of time has but a little way to fly, and lo! The bird is on the wing. Whether at Nishapur or Babylon, whether the cup with sweet or bitter run, the wine of life keeps oozing drop by drop, the lees of life kept falling one by one. Morning 1,000 roses brings, you say yes, but where leaves the rose of yesterday? And this first summer month that brings the rose shall take Jamshid and Kaikobad away. But come with old Khayyam, and leave the lot of Kaikobad and Kai Khosru forgot. Let Rustum lay about him as he will, or Hatim Tai cry supper, heed them not. With me along the strip of herbage strown that just divides the desert from the sown, where name of slave and sultan is forgot, and peace is Mahmud on his golden throne. A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou beside me singing in the wilderness. Oh, wilderness were paradise enow. Some for the glories of this world, and some sigh for the prophet's paradise to come. Ah, take the cash, and let the promise go, nor heed the rumble of a distant drum. Were it not folly, spider-like to spin the thread of present life away to win what? For ourselves, who know not if we shall breathe out the very breath we now breathe in. Look to the rose that blows about us low, laughing, she says, into the world I blow, at once the silken tassel of my purse tear, and its treasure on the garden throw. The worldly hope men set their hearts upon turns ashes, or it prospers, and anon, like snow upon the desert's dusty face, lighting a little hour or two, is gone. And those who husbanded the golden grain, and those who flung it to the winds like rain, are like to no such aureate earth are turned as, buried once, men want dug up again. Think, in this battered caravanserai whose doorways are alternate night and day, how Sultan after Sultan with his pomp abode his hour or two and went his way. They say the lion and the lizard keep the courts where Jamshid gloried and drank deep, and Borom, that great hunter, the wilder stamps o'er his head, but cannot break his sleep. I sometimes think that never blows so red the rose as where some buried Caesar bled, that every hyacinth the garden wears dropped in its lap from some once lovely head. And this delightful herb whose tender green fledges the river's lip on which we lean, lean upon it lightly, for who knows from what once lovely lip it springs unseen. Ah, my beloved, fill the cup that clears today of past regrets and future fears of tomorrow. Why, tomorrow I may be myself with yesterday's 7,000 years. Lo, some we loved, the loveliest and best that time and fate of all their vintage pressed, have drunk their cup a round or two before, and one by one crept silently to rest. And we, that now make merry in the room they left, and summer dresses in new bloom. Ourselves must we beneath the couch of earth descend. Ourselves to make a couch for whom? Ah, make the most of what we may yet spend, before we too into the dust descend, dust into dust, and under dust, to lie, sans wine, sans song, sans singer, and sans end. Alike for those who for today prepare, and those that after some tomorrow stare. A muezzin from the tower of darkness cries, fools, your reward is neither here nor there. Why, all the saints and sages who discussed of the two worlds so learnedly, are thrust like foolish prophets forth, their works to scorn are scattered, and their mouths are stopped with dust. Oh, come with old Khayyam, and leave the wise to talk. One thing is certain, that life flies. One thing is certain, and the rest is lies. The flower that once has blown forever dies. Myself when young did eagerly frequent doctor and saint, and heard great argument about it and about. But evermore came out by the same door as in I went. With them the seed of wisdom did I sow, and with my own hand laboured it to grow, and this was all the harvest that I reaped. I came like water, and like wind I go into this universe, and why not knowing, nor whence, like water willy-nilly flowing, and out of it, as wind along the waste, I know not whither, willy-nilly blowing. Up from earth's centre through the seventh gate I rose, and on the throne of Saturn sate, and many knots unravelled by the road, but not the master knot of human fate. There was the door to which I found no key, there was the veil through which I could not see. Some little talk a while of me and thee there was, and then no more of thee and me. Then to the rolling heaven itself I cried, asking, what lamp had destiny to guide her little children stumbling in the dark, and a blind understanding? He then replied. Then to the lip of this poor earthen urn I leaned, the secret well of life to learn, and lip to lip it murmured, while you live, drink, for, once dead, you never shall return. I think the vessel, that with fugitive articulation answered, once did live, and merry-make, and the cold lip I kissed. How many kisses might it take and give? For in the market-place, one dusk of day, I watched the potter thumping his wet clay, and with its all obliterated tongue it murmured, gently, brother, gently, pray. And has not such a story from of old down man's successive generations rolled of such a clod of saturated earth cast by the Maker into human mould? Ah, fill the cup, what boots it to repeat how time is slipping underneath our feet, unborn tomorrow, and dead yesterday? Why fret about them if today be sweet? A moment's halt, a momentary taste of being from the well amid the waste, and lo, the phantom caravan has reached the nothing it set out from. Oh, make haste. Oh, plagued no more with human or divine, tomorrow's tangle to itself resign, and lose your fingers in the tresses of the cypress slender minister of wine. Waste not your hour, nor in the vain pursuit of this and that endeavour and dispute. Better be merry with the fruitful grape than sadden after none, or bitter, fruit. You know, my friends, with what a brave carouse I made a second marriage in my house, divorced old barren reason from my bed, and took the daughter of the vine to spouse. And lately, by the tavern door agape, came stealing through the dusk an angel shape bearing a vessel on his shoulder, and he bid me taste of it, and 'twas the grape that can with logic absolute the 72 jarring sects confute, the subtle alchemist that in a trice life's leaden metal into gold transmute. Why, be this juice the growth of God, who dare blaspheme the twisted tendril as snare? A blessing, we should use it, should we not? And if a curse, why, then, who set it there?